you obviously have a concern, and you seem to be unhappy with the conventional formulations of it, and I don't blame you. On the one hand, you see really a degradation of standards.
I see the danger of a degradation. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I think I said so in so many words. I don't say that at this moment there is a degradation, but I say there's a possibility of it.
Well, you enjoin on your students more rigorous application to their studies, to their vocabulary, to their style.
Yes,
presumably because you think that they're not doing as much as your generation did.
I'm not even going to speak for my generation, but I do. Well, let's take this question of language first of all. I do detect a tendency on the part of many of the young, and indeed many of the middle-aged, to diminish their vocabularies, to diminish the number of linguistic tools that are available to them, to indulge in purely emotive judgments, to discount the value of reason, to discount the value of analysis. I find that in New York especially, a great deal of language used is extremely vague, extremely emotive. I don't know how far one is able to quote these terms on a program of this kind. How liberal are we here? But
some of the terms that you felt, some of the neologisms you felt you had to come up with in A Clockwork Orange were as a result what? In that particular society of a refusal to use the vocabulary that was already there, but a felt need for
No, you're regarding that unhappy book as...
Why unhappy book?
For various reasons I won't bore you with now, but unhappy because it belongs to my past. I don't clearly understand it. It was written under rather unhappy circumstances, and was a kind of unhappy avowal of a particular attitude which had been borne in upon me by experience. This was not a book written in the closet. This was a book written out of bitter autobiographical experience. In that particular book, I was merely inventing a language for an aesthetic purpose. I was trying to present youth in a way, one aspect of youth as destroyer, youth as anti-humbug, youth as innocence, in a kind of super-political context. Here I had a young boy who was using the languages of the two super-states of the world, America and Russia, and yet he was in some measure dancing above the Iron Curtain. Having borrowed the vocabulary of Russian, the vocabulary of Anglo-American, he created a language which was antisocial, anti-state, with a mere vehicle for the manifestation of a particular kind of joy, no more. This has nothing to do with my feelings about what kind of vocabulary should be used by university students. This is me as a novelist, and not me as a pedagogue.
You as a pedagogue feel what? That the resistance to a larger and varied vocabulary is what? Is it pure sloth, or is it a tendency to subsume everything into one generic?
It's a kind of sloth, but at the same time, it's I suppose this comes out of sloth. It's a desire to simplify, to make highly complex situations easily manageable. I see this, for instance, with the attempt on the part of some pundits to regard what they call Black English as a valuable language in itself, where of course it is a language of deprivation. It is a slave language. And it has the weak slavery and the clank of the chains in it. As regarded,
what would be an illustration?
I'm not going to quote Black English now, but you know precisely what I mean. The way in which words become mere counters for resentment and not devices for analysis. I don't know how far I'm able to quote words on this program, but when a student comes to my office, as he did the other day, and says, "Why do you write that fucked up article in the New York Times?" I have to say, well, what precisely do you mean by fucked up? Do you mean it was badly written? Do you mean it was ill-considered? Or do you mean you really don't like it? And he has to conclude that he really doesn't like it. When I hear somebody in the street say, "What time is it?" and the reply is, "Oh, it's 4 o'clock," or some shit like that, I have to be very wary of this tendency to color language in that particular way. I don't reject that on any moral principle, but on pure linguistic principle. I find that this is happening. That the tendency to use words, use counters, and use them in all kinds of contexts, with no attempt to broaden the spectrum of language and use it for analyzing, for really understanding, is a dangerous thing. And I think it's being abetted to a great extent, not by the young themselves, but by their betters, well, not by their betters, but certain brother elders.
Well, you started by saying it goes further than sloth. Now describe.
I think it's further than
now describe what it is that it does signify.
Let us take an example now from literature. Let us take George Orwell's 1984, in which a language called Newspeak is foisted on the population of airstrip number 1. The idea of Newspeak is to limit vocabulary, to limit...
Was to distort vocabulary.
Well, not to distort, but to limit or even to nullify the human capacity to make political judgments. If I say Big Brother is double plus ungood, I have not made a judgment which can be substantiated, because Big Brother by definition is good. And this process, although it could never be imposed by the state, can come about by normal pragmatic means. And I think to some extent is coming about in America.
So what is the generator of it? That's what I want to know.
Here's a big question. I don't imagine there's any great spider sitting somewhere in government arranging this sort of thing. But I should imagine there are certain elements in government which are rather pleased to see this sort of thing going on. Because we can take one thing as axiomatic, but government does not like clear speech or clear thought on the part of the government. The job of government is not to govern, but to stay there and to exist. And the less critical, the less vociferous, the less eloquent the government are, the better the government is pleased. So certainly this tendency for vocabulary to be limited, rather young, is being abetted by a particular process.
Well, is it being abetted because by government sending people to college who are not in fact equipped to take the traditional strain of college? Let me give you an example. I've heard the following figure, that unless you have an IQ of 125, you can't profit from higher education as traditionally understood. Mm-hmm. Now, of the 40% of Americans who are in college, so this analysis tells us, 20% have an IQ of less than 125. Mm-hmm. Now, would you say that this is government abetting the anti-critical process, or is this just too much of a coincidence?
Now, this is one interesting and possibly fundamental example of an American confronting an Englishman, because I don't know what these IQ figures mean. I've never paid a great deal of attention to this method of assessing one's intelligence. I think my own IQ is very low indeed.
Well, I suppose you're talking about verbal.
No, I've never accepted the notion of an undifferentiated intelligence quotient. I believe in the Binet, the Binet double system, whereby one can be very stupid at many things, but rather clever at others. I remember on one occasion I was supervising an IQ session in which my own students had to be given an IQ under, I suppose, the pressure of American educational thought. And we had this kind of question: what is the relationship between these words, or draw up these words into two groups? And one group was verbs, and the other group was nouns. It was as simple as that. But this student, who was a very special one, found that half the words were Latin origin and the other half were of Greek origin. So drew them up in this way, naturally, following the matrix. He got a fail. This sort of thing goes on, as you know, in other regions. I don't know anything about IQ.
I think you're being
I don't think about it. No, I don't know anything about IQ. I don't think about IQ.
I'm not asking you to know anything about it.
But in IQ,
I'm not asking you to...
the idea is that anybody can go to university, right? Is this it? Anybody can go to university. This is the ideal we're moving towards.
You've made a certain hit-and-run charges about all kinds of conditions, and I'm not accusing